What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my very own team selection for the upcoming Game Week 12. So finally, the international break is going to be ending. We still have those press conferences coming up on Thursday as well as Friday, before the deadline stream coming up on Saturday around midday. But thankfully, as I mentioned, the international break is coming to a close. I think it's the last one till about March. So tons of football happening over the next couple of weeks. Now to start off this team selection, I'll give you guys a quick refresher about Game Week 11. I know it's been forever since Game Week 11 has concluded, but I'll just go over a quick review of how the rank is currently looking. Then jumping straight into all that goodness for the upcoming Game Week 12, where I'm potentially looking to take a -4 hit. So that's what you guys are interested in. Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So this video has been sponsored kindly by FanTeam, the biggest European fantasy provider. Now we are actually in the last week of the engagement, and therefore they've left the best till last. You guys can get a massive 2 free entries for just making an account, no deposit required. Now obviously you guys have to use the link in the description. Don't worry if those free entries don't come about immediately. Once verification takes place, they will be in your inbox, definitely before that Game Week 12 deadline. So you guys can see the prize pool of £6,000. It's actually risen to about 7k at the time of recording this video. As mentioned, 2 free entries just for using my link, no deposit required, just make an account. Thanks once again to FanTeam for sponsoring this video, and for those of you watching this video, all the support is massively appreciated. So running through a quick recap of how Game Week 11 went, a game week that feels forever ago, but at least there was a green arrow. The international break's always a bit sweeter if you're sitting on a nice green arrow. So thanks to 70 points in Game Week 11, we rose in rank to about the 240k mark. So that rank is looking a little bit more respectable as the game weeks go by. Let me know how your rank was, as well as how many points you guys scored in Game Week 11. Hopefully it wasn't a red arrow. So let's see where those 70 points came from on the bench. Nothing much to talk about. We benched Gabriel. That also defense hasn't been great. And Gabriel had a little bit of a tougher fixture compared to the rest of my team. Greaves and Chiwomi doesn't feature. Greaves still injured. And luckily I benched Flecken for his 1-pointer. I say luckily as Fabianski edged an extra bonus point at the death and therefore secured a 9-point haul. Not too bad for a 4.0 goalkeeper. Was pretty happy with this kind of rotation. Who says goalkeeper rotation never works? Now unfortunately our defensive department didn't kind of keep up the heat. Ait Nori got 6 points though, whereas Guardiola and Diego Dalot only got the 1-pointer. Now two different sides of the story. Guardiola actually lost the clean sheet, conceded a few goals. As you would have seen in the Ultimate Guide yesterday, that Man City defense isn't too great. But on the right hand side there, Diego Dalot, he got subbed 3 minutes before the 60-minute mark and would have secured the clean sheet if he just stayed on a bit longer. Now I have kind of gotten over this as the international break has progressed, but this just reminds me how bad of a transfer he actually was. Luckily though, Rico Lewis got a 0-pointer, so we gained 1 extra point, but I guess I could have just played Gabriel. Now all eyes on the new manager and his first selection in Game Week 12, fingers crossed Diego Dalot is going to be in his plans, otherwise this transfer could just get worse and worse. Now midfield department, the right captaincy shout. If you guys do recall my deadline stream, I was considering captaining Dom Solanke. Opted for Salah though with about 10 minutes to go. So massive 14-pointer from the absolute GOAT of FPL, Mo Salah. Really happy that I ended up captaining him. Unfortunately, other premiums, Cole Palmer and Saka didn't do anything, both with the 2-point appearances. I just hope they can repay the patience in the future game weeks. Then Mbeumo with 1 assist, however, Brentford are scoring more and more goals. Mbeumo is getting less attacking returns though. I'm not worried as of yet though, as he has been pretty consistent. Then finally the biggest disappointment was that Spurs team against Ipswich. Kulusevski was my massive differential, and you guys know what happened, he blanked in this fixture. So I kind of know what it means to be a Spurs fan now, because I was super hyped for this one. Surely they were going to beat a newly promoted team after their good run of results in the previous game weeks. But as with Spurs, they always disappoint, and that stretched to our front line with Solanke also blanking. At least Cunha redeemed the striker position, getting a massive 12-pointer. Quite brutal if you guys went for the cheapest Strand Larsen. But these individual hauls from Cunha, the Salah captaincy, even Fabianski, that netted us a nice green arrow with the 70-pointer. As mentioned, how's your rank currently looking? Don't worry though, still very early in the season. And just remember, I've already used the triple captaincy chip. Now before we actually get onto the team selection for upcoming Game Week 12, I just want to showcase my team selection for the Fan Team Weekly Monster, one of my free entries used here. Now with those 2 free entries, what you guys can actually do is kind of make a template team as well as a differential team, as the more different your team is from the average, the higher chance you have of probably winning the money if those players obviously do well. So you guys can use this as more of a template kind of pick. You guys can see a cheap defense, a relatively expensive midfield and forward department, managed to fit in Salah as well as Erling Haaland. Now of course the prices are adjusted according to the fixture. Cole Palmer is obviously super expensive, so I couldn't fit everyone in my team. A few differentials here and there, a Garnacho hope he plays, Smith Rowe, Semenyo, and then my classic Mbumo, also backing Cunha at the cheaper price tag. But once again, you guys can get 2 free entries, use one on a template team and one on a differential team, and hopefully you guys win some money over on Fan Team. But now let's head on to my team selection for the upcoming Game Week 12. On the right hand side, 1 free transfer, 0.8 left in the bank, but I'm actually looking to take a -4 hit potentially. So I'll be going over my current team selection with no transfers made, then I'll talk about my transfer plan. I just want to absorb the press conference information coming up today and tomorrow. So on the bench this week could be a haul from Aït-Nouri, but I'm backing Fulham to probably score here. As you guys would have seen in the Ultimate Guide yesterday, the clean sheet odds aren't looking too great. Then Fabianski after his 9-pointer, not really backing him for a clean sheet against Newcastle, and then Greaves and Chouameni probably won't feature. Now we've actually got back-to-back kind of game week to game week Everton fixtures for our goalkeepers. The only difference is Flekken is away this time. So let's see if Brentford and Flekken can finally keep their first clean sheet of the season. I mean, against Everton, probably a good chance. But no complaints here with Flecken's fixture, definitely have some high expectations, which is never really wise to have with Flekken. Now backline, I'm benching Aït-Nouri for Guardiola at the moment. I just think that Spurs at home fixture isn't that bad, although Spurs can be the kryptonite to their Man City team. Guardiola though offers massive attacking threat even for his international team, scoring for Croatia a few days ago. You guys will probably make more sense of starting Guardiola when you look at my transfer plan, as I'm probably going to get rid of both Spurs attackers. So kind of playing the odds here, hoping Spurs don't score and therefore Guardiola keeps a clean sheet. But I can understand playing Aït-Nouri over him for the increased attacking threat. Gabriel against Nottingham Forest, Arsenal have the highest chance of a clean sheet in terms of the SpreadX data. Let's hope that Chris Wood doesn't score another worldie. But pretty confident, obviously Gabriel also offers some attacking threat, but has had a pretty stacked international break. Then the final player, Diego Dalot, meaning he might not even start for the new manager. I hope he does though, as in a back 5 he should be super attacking. Hasn't been great though. I watched the United game, was getting absolutely cooked, so Aït-Nouri might even be in the starting 11 sooner than he thinks. But overall against Ipswich, I have to take the punt. It's a great fixture. Let's see if Diego Dalot can kind of repay us for bringing him in. Now midfield department starts off pretty hot with the Campsey armband, currently on most Salah against Southampton away. Now the best news about Salah over this international break was that he didn't go to Egypt, and therefore has had a full rest over the last 2 weeks. So for me, it's probably between Salah and Cole Palmer at the moment. Palmer apparently trained for Chelsea this week, and therefore should be okay for the weekend. I just back Salah slightly more. These fixtures are quite close though, unfortunately both away games. You guys let me know in the comments down below who would you captain between Salah and Palmer, and who's actually your overall captain. I'm expecting Erling Haaland's ownership to be pretty high this game week. Then adding our third premium, it's going to be Saka against Nottingham Forest. Not the best fixture from an attacking point of view, as Forest have been pretty good. But let's see if we get anything from Arteta in the press conference coming up probably tomorrow. Highly doubted though, probably going to get some hidden training photos about Saka missing training. So if he is going to be missing, I probably will be taking him out. But high expectations for these 3 premiums, they all have very respective fixtures. So let's see what happens. Then Mbumo against Everton, great fixture here. Everton though have improved defensively, but I still back Mbumo and Brentford. As mentioned early on, has been super consistent. I've got no reason to doubt him. Still think we could have a haul on our hands here. Then the final midfielder, Kulusevski, probably on the chopping block for this week with the transfer out. Just don't know if I can trust Spurs anymore. Now Spurs are the kind of kryptonite to Man City. Their counter-attacking football usually punishes them. And as you would have seen yesterday, that Man City defense over the last 6 game weeks is in the bottom 6. Therefore, should I actually be taking Kulusevski or Dom Solanke out? The stats say probably not, but I don't know if I can trust the Spurs squad. Up front, Cunha has a pretty tough game against Fulham. They're also putting up very respective defensive numbers. But he has great fixtures in the future anyway, so might as well keep hold of him. Then finally, Dom Solanke with the same fixture, Man City away, is a very tough game. But could this actually be easier than we are expecting? I probably doubt it. I think this might be a little bit of an easy Man City win. And therefore both these two options are probably my main transfer out concerns. But you guys in the comments down below, let me know if this was your team with one free transfer and about 0.8 left in the bank. What upgrade or downgrade would you guys choose? Let's go on to my transfer plan where I discussed that one free transfer with a potential -4. And as mentioned, my main concerns revolve around these Spurs assets. And I also just want to say with Cole Palmer, Saka, these players are all yellow flagged at the current moment. If they are going to be injured for the medium term, they obviously become the main transfer out. I do kind of expect all of them to be okay, most international break injuries, and therefore let's shift focus back to those Spurs assets. So I'm going to talk about Kulusevski first of all because I do probably think out of the two Spurs attackers, Kulusevski is probably the easier one out. And I already discussed in my transfer plan 2 cheaper replacements. So Rodgers as well as Semenyo are my 2 favorite cheaper options. Could also go for a Neto as a like-for-like switch, but might not want to go for that rotation. So the reason why Rodgers and Semenyo are so attractive is the fact that I can afford Chiwomi to João Pedro next week, which obviously upgrades my rotation of my squad. Get João Pedro for that great game in Game Week 13, and therefore this might be kind of a very easy transfer. Out of these two though, choosing which one is quite tough. I think I currently prefer Semenyo, might be slightly more of a talisman, and I think he might have the better fixtures. My only concern though is those 4 yellow cards. So one more yellow card and he is suspended, but I guess if I go for a João Pedro next week, I can rotate him in whatever fixture he's missing out on. Semenyo also carrying a knock he pulled out of the international break, so I want to monitor if you guys do have him or looking to bring him in. That's why Rodgers on the other hand is pretty consistent, has had an overall rest as he was selected for the England senior squad, and hasn't had that much game time over the international break. That was quite needed as he was looking a bit tired, was being subbed a bit early in those Aston Villa fixtures, so I think the rest probably did him well. Aston Villa obviously also a very strong attacking squad, and at his cheaper price point has been super capable. Just prefer Semenyo at the moment slightly. So this transfer is probably more locked in. I think either way, if I do a -4 or not, I'll probably be looking at Rodgers or Semenyo, and that's in for Kulusevski. Now where the -4 does take place is potentially going to take out our second Spurs attacker, and that's Dom Solanke for either Isaac or Jackson. So between these two, you might be looking at the kind of increased price tag. I can still afford João Pedro for Chiwomi with the exact funds, but only if I go for Jackson instead of Isaac. I would probably say that I do prefer Isaac for the medium term, Jackson's more of a short term punt, and like with Semenyo also on 4 yellow cards. That Chelsea rotation also does worry me, but I just look at those fixtures, Leicester, Southampton, 2 in the next 3, you almost just have to go for him as a punt option. Isaac on the other hand has a great fixture, West Ham, Crystal Palace, and then Liverpool, but then after that great fixtures as well. So this would be for a -4 hit, and the reason I was looking at potentially doing this is that if you guys do look at the fixtures, Man City, Fulham and Bournemouth, we just spoke about Fulham and Bournemouth in the Ultimate Guide having great starts to the season, and their defensive numbers over the last 6 are in the top 5 in the Prem. So you're going to take a punt against Man City as their defense hasn't been great, but then they've got Fulham, Bournemouth, 3 probably tougher fixtures. So I do believe that Jackson or Isaac could pay off that -4 hit over the next few game weeks. Just something I'm kind of pondering, thinking about, trying to do the calculations and the projected points, but definitely a risk taking out 2 Spurs options before that leaky Man City squad. You guys can let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Do you think this -4 is worth it? I just want to say that I can't do the Isaac in for Solanke move with only 1 free transfer, as I just missed out on that price rise. But Solanke to Jackson could be a move, but I'm pretty sure I'll take out Kulusevski before Dom Solanke, as I think Solanke might be the better FPL asset. So the 1 free transfer of Kulusevski out for Rodgers Semenyo is pretty nailed. Just going to monitor what the press conferences do have in store for us today and tomorrow. But I'm pretty tempted by this -4, I won't lie, with these great fixtures, and I think a -4 it could be paid off pretty easily over these next few games. Let me know what your transfer plans are for the upcoming game week. Are you like myself looking at a -4, even a -8? Who's your captain for game week 12? It's going to be pretty split, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the deadline stream coming up on Saturday. But this is basically a wrap for the video guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you didn't subscribe if you have subscribed yet. Shout out to Fan Team for sponsoring the last few videos. Use my link in the description. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.